I wasn't going to make a video on this since I thought the ending was pretty straightforward, but I get a lot of comments where people still debate whether it was a dream or not. Then I get questions asking me if I can explain the ending itself. I reply to those as much as I can. I don't like to leave people hanging. But every now and then a few others ask the same question and it keeps going on like this. So I figured it would be more productive just to make a quick video explaining the ending. So with that being said, let's get the first thing out of the way. The wedding happened as we saw. The events that took place there, the quintuplets game, Yotsuba's speech, all of that did happen. Nothing ambiguous at this point. Then we have the aftermath of the wedding. Fuutarou, Yotsuba and Raiha are hanging out in a room, I suppose, or maybe a hallway. It's in the same building where the wedding ceremony took place anyway. They just change in casual clothes, notice Fuutarou's outfit and keep that in mind for a minute. They have a small conversation and prepare to leave the place. They go downstairs where they meet the other 4 queens who are organizing a trip for their honeymoon. Yes, they go together, definitely not questionable. Now one of them, presumably Yotsuba, and we'll see in a bit why he says her, says to everyone to point at where they want to go, point at a specific location. I suppose that's on a map or something. Each guy maybe pointed at France, Ninot, Bora Bora, a location where they wanted to spend the honeymoon. They ended up in Hawaii, by the way, if you've not read the extra 4-page chapter. That moment triggers a memory for Fuutarou. He remembers a similar scenario that took place after they graduated. And that's when we enter a flashback. Fuutarou wakes up. We are at the time where they are planning their graduation trip. The festival happened, also the events that followed. Yotsuba already proposed to Yotsuba. Now they need to decide where to go to celebrate their graduation. They discuss a bit and then Yotsuba says, everyone point at the place you want to go. Or why don't the 5 of us just point at where we want to go? Whichever translation you prefer. Notice that this is the same phrase she used in the present to decide their honeymoon. Now very important, Fuutarou says, that's right, I thought the same thing at that time too. At that time, showing that he's talking from the present, referring to something that already happened. Now what Fuutarou was referring to is answered on the last page. Quintuplets are such a pain. So, if we put them together, Fuutarou said, that's right, I thought the same thing at that time too, quintuplets are such a pain. Then we get 2 panels with the queens pointing at a different location each, one panel from the flashback, the graduation trip, and one from the present, the honeymoon trip. Then also 2 panels with Fuutarou, one from the graduation and one from the honeymoon. Notice his outfits are matching their respective time frame. This parallel is meant to show, well, first that the quintuplets are such a pain, but also that Fuutarou grew to love them or got used to them and accepted the fact that they are such a pain. So no ambiguous dream ending, Fuutarou met Yotsuba, the wedding happened as we saw, they went together on honeymoon, end of the story. There's really nothing to interpret here. I guess you could also view this Fuutarou waking up from a dream bed as a callback to the first chapter. You know, when Fuutarou dreams about the day he met the queens. The first chapter ends with a parallel between adult Fuutarou and teen Fuutarou, one saying it's a pleasant dream and the other nightmare. And like in the first chapter, this begins with Fuutarou waking up from a dream and ends with a parallel between adult and teen Fuutarou, both saying the queens are a pain, but one looking annoyed while the other smiling pleasantly. So that's it. I hope this clears some of your doubts regarding the ending. But if you notice something that I missed that might change something, don't hesitate to let me know. Oh, I almost forgot. Since we're talking about endings, I also want to address the rumors about an anime original ending. Those have been circulating in the community for a while now. I believe it's likely to happen since I don't think the anime will adapt the entire manga. Theoretically, it would need about 4 or maybe 3 seasons plus a few OVAs to fully and faithfully adapt the manga, which could still happen if the anime sells well enough, but I wouldn't get my hopes up. 4-season anime are quite rare these days, and if that's the case, then the anime will most likely have a non-ending conclusion. Basically neither a choice nor a harem ending. It could end on a cliffhanger with a bell kisser and push people to read the manga. If, however, they decide to fully adapt the manga, then I don't think they will change a thing. Now, some people brought up the possibility of a different choice, a different bride, but realistically that's never gonna happen. Even if the anime chooses to deviate and have a proper original ending, Yotsuba will most definitely still be the bride. As far as I know, the production behind the anime are not allowed to change that, unless Neji approves it. Although they can change everything that leads to the bride reveal, just not the bride herself. And that's something I'm hoping for. My ideal ending, considering that I don't think the anime has the right to change the winner, would be to adapt until chapter 90 with a couple of tweaks, then deviate from the manga. Conclude each cast character at the end of the Sisters War arc, reveal that she was the bell kisser. I still think that taking the bell kiss away from her was the biggest BS Neji pulled on us, then let her focus on her career. Have Nino make up with Maruo and realize she saw Fuutarou as a replacement for him. She doesn't have to give up on her feelings, just a subtle realization that she fell for Fuutarou because she missed her father. Have Miku discover that she can love herself and be strong without needing validation from Fuutarou. Have Yotsuba come to terms with her sisters, letting them know that she also wants Fuutarou for herself. And because Ichika got over him, Nino realized why she fell for him and Miku learned to love herself, they would accept Yotsuba's resolve. Have Fuutarou discover that Itsuki was Rena. Let them converge and reveal that Yotsuba was the one who met Fuutarou in the past. Have Itsuki realize that even though she loves Fuutarou, it's too late to disclose her feelings and have her support Yotsuba. Maybe she realizes she fell for Fuutarou because she was following her mother's footsteps, since her mother also fell for her teacher. And finally, have Fuutarou confess to Yotsuba after graduation. There are, of course, quite a few problems with this route too, but without altering too much the story, I think it resolves some of the main issues and also concludes each character's arc. Ichika got over Fuutarou and focused on her career, Nino realized she fell for Fuutarou because of her father's absence, Miku learned to love herself without Futarou's validation, Itsuki tried too hard to mirror her mother, and that cost her. And finally, Yotsuba settled her debt to her sisters and confronted Fuutarou after the graduation. If somehow the anime chooses to have its separate way while still being reasonably faithful to the manga, then this would be my ideal ending, which will most definitely not going to happen, but a man can dream. Realistically speaking, the most likely choice would be a non-ending conclusion, either end it on a cliffhanger with a Belkisser, or end it at a point where there's no clear winner. I don't think there's going to be anything suggesting a harem ending, and certainly not different routes for each queen. Unless Neji gets involved and suggests, they go for that. But what are the chances? Anyway, that's it for real this time. I think I covered everything about the ending. Thanks for watching guys, have a great day.